to be honest, I've got to say she's got to be the favourite here. She's been so good. But OOGINK, on the other hand, a lot of experience. Could find the goods today. Could work out how to deal with her. We'll see how it goes.
Well, AYDIN beat Olga Ivanova of Russia in the quarterfinals 6-4. Now she's gone out in the early stages of the Chinese and the Kazakhstan Grand Prix, so she'll be happy to find herself here in the semi-finals. She's got plenty of experience, 2005 Cadets European champion, a semi-finalist of the European Championships this year, and actually lost out to the lady we've just seen, Mandic, in that semi-final. If, and it's a big if again at this stage, but if AYDIN gets through this semi-final, does that start to play on your mind? I've already lost to this person in a very big contest already this year.
Yeah, I think so, definitely, and that's, again, like as I mentioned before about the Grand Prix Series, people fighting people more often. You obviously have the Europeans as well. And it creates these kind of situations where someone could potentially go overboard and go too much out at the start, or they could just lose it right from the start and just lose before they step on the mats.
So AYDIN against OOGINK there, as you can see, beating Zheng 7-2. One of the rounds a little bit earlier on. Some last minute refreshments for the lady from the Netherlands. Should I say the lady from Turkey. Ivanova 8-8, went to golden points, and she's got herself here in this semi-final as AYDIN. Some last minute words. High fives. And the referee wants their attention, so in they come. Semi-final of the 67+ kilogram category. Tavares, our referee. You can just see them there testing out the electronic equipment. I said I'd ask you a little bit earlier on about the headgear. Now all of a sudden we're into electronic headgear as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great addition to the sport, I think. It takes away a bit of subjectivity, which I think for any sport is a brilliant thing for the athletes. And today, it's been really good, and not just in terms of it being fair and all the headshots being like spot on, also in terms of speed. The matches have been a lot quicker because there's been less video replays, which again is more spectator friendly, and it's good for the athletes as well because they don't stop and stand around for a while and cool down.
OOGINK came into this ranked 8th for the actual competition. AYDIN was quite a way down on the ranking list, but finds herself here as OOGINK goes for a spin kick there, and both competitors getting themselves an early point. This one already seems a little bit far more open than the other.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost the opposite. OOGINK's really trying to put the pressure on, and I think that almost could be because the Turkish girl in the earlier rounds, she was really impressive through the first couple of rounds, but then seemed to get quite fatigued in the last round. So OOGINK could be looking to put the pressure on her, tire her out, and make the most of that.
The Australian Open winner, OOGINK, this year. And you see there, AYDIN rushing straight at her, and OOGINK trying to pick her off with that foot.
Yeah, definitely. It was great counters. There's a Kyongo there. It was a great counter by almost a bit sloppy, a bit of a running move, a bit too big. It was a great counter, good time, and unfortunate not to score.
So again, you saw a Kyongo given to AYDIN of Turkey there, and that's part of this new rule regime. You hit the deck, whether you mean it or not, and you're going to get a Kyongo against you. Too many of those, and you'll start conceding points to the Raider knots as well. It's really made some people change their style, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think before you could get away with it quite a lot, you could fall over a fair amount and maybe get one or two Kyongos. Wouldn't really make too much of a difference, but now because it's every time, you could see, I think at the Europeans earlier this year was the first time it was the first time it was really implemented, and it made a big difference to a lot of like the big name players.
Here, AYDIN has drawn herself level to a piece. OOGINK screeches out loud as she thought she'd clocked her third point. Tavares just telling the two competitors to engage.
The Turkish girl's got a really good counter front leg, but OOGINK's doing really well to stand here in an open stance and try and take that out of the equation.
We were on about AYDIN being beaten by Malika Mandic a little bit earlier on. It's happened to OOGINK as well. That's actually in at one of the Grand Prix earlier this year in China. OOGINK was beaten by Mandic in the quarter-final stage. So again, both of these will know exactly who they're going to face in the final. Both of these will know what a challenge lies ahead of them.
Yeah.
At the moment, though, no separating them.
Yeah, no, it's been quite close fair so far. OOGINK's done really well to take AYDIN's front leg out of the equation, and she's, like I said, tactically been really spot on.
It's good to see. Sometimes you know the athletes themselves that think they've scored. You can see them put a hand in the air or a fist in the air. Is that to try and persuade perhaps the judges to say, yeah, that was, or is that kind of an old school thing?
I think it is quite an old school thing, but I think even like myself, I'd not say I'm a new school player, but yeah.
Just a whippersnapper, Ruben. Just a whippersnapper.
I think it is quite an old school thing, but it's just something that all Taekwondo players do. It's you get into the fight and it really gets you pumped up, and you claim your points when you kick, and it works really well.
So the crowd getting behind both of these here in Manchester as we start this second round. OOGINK and AYDIN all level. And again, big screeches of joy. And OOGINK celebrates, but AYDIN got a bit of a problem here, Ruben. She's, you can see the strapping already existing on the knee. We were on about this earlier. You've been through so many prelim rounds, and a lot of these guys are already limping off or holding something as they go through the first, second, or third round, past the quarter-final stages. Here in the semi, it appears that AYDIN already had quite a lot of strapping on that left knee. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you a replay in a moment, perhaps, and see whether it was just jarred or whether there was some contact from OOGINK. Interesting, she seemed to kiss her knee there, by the way. I don't know whether everyone else spotted that.
It's not something I'm familiar with.
Just here, is that the landing, perhaps? This is quite a delayed reaction, then all of a sudden it hurts. No, it doesn't seem to be a contact, so just the landing there from AYDIN. And just to make matters worse, she gets another Kyongo for it.
And scores a point back.
So these new rules really do kick you when you're down. You actually just get penalised when you go down. But AYDIN does some good work straight away and gets another point on the board. So again, still close here and goes for the headshot. Can't have been far away, that.
Yeah, that's that front leg that OOGINK really needs to watch out for. She was doing really well at cutting out before, but just slipped up there.
And she's gone for it again this time. And it'd be nice to see a replay of a few of these headshots at the end of this round, because they've been pretty close. And well, another bit of equipment needs looking at. This is something, again, that the more modern times has seen changes. That the more equipment you've got, the more chance there is of something malfunctioning.
Yeah, exactly. Quite often you do have to stop and adjust your pads. But obviously it's all for safety reasons, and as you can see, AYDIN's struggling with the knee, and the more pads you have, the more protected we are as athletes, and the better show that we can put on.
Now this is where it becomes difficult for AYDIN. Does she now start to lead with the bad leg, so she's not on it all the time, or does she stick to what she's doing and having to put most of the weight on her left leg, which you can see she's struggling with? She has turned now. She's going to lead with it, but one hefty blow to that leg as she stretches it out might be the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. From personal experience, I know about that. I did my MCL at a competition, and I was told to kick with it rather than stand with it. But as an athlete, you're so used to training, you're so used to doing certain kicks. I didn't really pay any heed to that, and I think you could see that here.
Well, these two are giving us a completely different fight to what we've seen in the first semi-final here. 5-4. OOGINK keeps getting two ahead, and despite the hefty strapping and the bit of a limp that AYDIN's got, the Turk has managed to keep within some close proximity. 5-4. And again, been interesting to see in the gap here. Let's talk about those headshots. She was going for it, just not quite able to connect on either occasion.
Yeah, both just short, just short. Maybe there could be the knee. She's not quite reaching fully in. If she can find one, though, it'll definitely make things interesting, because she'll take the lead.
Well, hopefully this is the shot of one of those. And AYDIN, the left leg is the one that's injured, so to take the amount of weight and pressure it needs to do this, and that is not far away.
Not at all.
And again, you can just, she thinks she scored that one, but again, you can just see a little wince of pain on her leg, and then she goes straight at it again. So something interesting to keep our eyes on there. As you talked about, you have to kind of change your style perhaps because of an injury, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
This will be interesting to see whether Furkan Asina AYDIN is forced to do that because of the injury, or chooses to do it here. Let's see if that knee holds out. I suppose the only bonus for her is the knowledge that if she does get through, she's only got to do it all again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure for the final she'll be able to be pumped up for it.
So OOGINK 5, AYDIN 4 as they go into this third round. Neither of them on a Kyongo now. AYDIN's had 2.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. She's been trying that all the way through. And injury or not, and she's clocking the points up AYDIN at a rate of knots here.
Yeah, OOGINK just seems to have switched up her style a bit. I'm not sure why. She was working well, obviously ahead, and she just seems to have changed things up, and it's worked out terribly for her.
Well, it's not a good change of tactics, as you heard Ruben Richards say there. Here, AYDIN is heading towards a final where she's going to need some serious work on that left knee. Winces of pain in this, and she hits the deck.
Yeah, this could be a problem, especially if she's struggling on her knee. She might not be able to hold her weight so well. She could fall over a bit, and that gives away a few more Kyongos, a few more points.
OOGINK will know this, and she's starting to try and put the pressure on 6-8 here as we head towards the final 60 seconds. All European tie, OOGINK and AYDIN, Netherlands versus Turkey. OOGINK has had the lead for the majority of this fight, but all of a sudden, AYDIN came out in the third and has put a quick fire 4 points on the board. And 2 separate, spinning attempt from OOGINK. AYDIN just trying to pick her off as well as she went in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's OOGINK's got to be careful. She can't rush too much because she will get picked up. AYDIN's really sharp with that counter.
Went in close there, OOGINK, and went for the punch. Failed to score. And is quickly running out of time here. A fraction of this third and final round. 1 point to go though, because the Kyongo pulls it a little bit closer.
There we go.
And now it's 8 apiece. Well, we've already had 1 golden point. OOGINK thought she'd scored with that one. 15 to go here, Ruben. Where do you see this one going?
OOGINK's definitely in the ascension. She's attacking really well, and there we go. That should be an extra point.
It is 9-8, OOGINK. Referee calls them together. And she wants to have a chat. Did you see anything untowards in that?
It should be the spin kick there. OOGINK should get an extra point, which will extend the lead to 2 points.
So the officials having their chat. And as we come out, Ruben seems to think that OOGINK will get an extra point here. Helmets go on.
There we go.
And exactly right. 10-8. OOGINK with 3 seconds to go. She needs something big here, AYDIN.
There we go.
And she can't find it. No. It's victory for the Netherlands in this one. Reshmi OOGINK of the Netherlands. Semi-finalist last year. She's gone 1 better here in Manchester. And at one point in the start of the third round, it looked like she changed the tactics and got it all wrong.
Almost seemed like a moment of madness. I'm not sure what she did. I think maybe she was really comfortable with how she was doing and tried to switch things up and came out a bit too aggressive, I feel. Got countered, but did really